Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. It's time to put forward my England 11. Rory's done the exact same on his channel. I've critiqued his team. It's now time for him to critique my team. They are very, very different in style, structure, and probably ethos. So let's dive into it. You're going to see it all. Wait for the justifications. There's thought behind it all that always is. Okay, we'll make our way through it bit by bit. What I've gone for, is it a 3 at the back? Is it 4 at the back? It's a 3 at the back. But is it a 3 at the back? It's not really, because... Now, let me put the explanation out there first.
Here we go.
So this is if Walker is not fit, okay? And to be honest, even if Walker is fit, is he match fit? That's another question for Gareth to sort out. But I wonder if this is a safe way to start off the tournament. We were talking about it on your channel in terms of the mix between form, experience, the tactical setup of it all. We've got good depth, and I think substitutes are going to be really, really important, obviously, this year. And that can be a change in formation where we can go for it a little bit more. But I've gone a little bit more conservative. First things first, let's talk the formation.
Yes.
Do you feel like that's too conservative, a 3-4-3?
Yes, I think that it's a little bit too negative, James. And the other thing that I think it does, and this is crucial, you know, if England had 3 standout centre-halves, like 3 players that had to start, then I think picking this formation would make a lot of sense. But the fact that effectively we don't have that many great defenders and we do have an abundance of wonderful attacking talent, I feel like what we're doing is we're accentuating the negative rather than allowing an additional attacking player on the pitch. One
thing I have kind of done, maybe without even truly thinking about it, is that if it's a kind of clean slate and you can just plug it in, then I think there might be a bit more of a attacking ethos where you kind of have that 4 at the back, and you could try it. And you've gone with the 4 at the back in your team, which, guys, you can go watch that one. But with this 3 at the back, I'm kind of thinking about it. We've come to this point. Do you know what I mean? I'm kind of thinking about where we are today. And where we are today, there is a pretty set formation and style of play. And it does mean that he wants to stay in the game a little bit. And I get it's not sexy. But what I do like about this team that I put forward here is, and the reason I put Trippier as a right-sided centre-back, which a lot of people will be like, what are you doing? The reason for that is that I think we'll have the ball a lot of the time. We're struggling with fullbacks a little bit. And I would really like to get Trent in the team to allow us to be able to use those long diagonal balls that he's got. But I'm also concerned about him defensively. And with Trippier, you have no concerns. So if you all squint and turn your head to the side a little bit, you can see that essentially this is a bit of a back 4, because you've got Shaw, Dyer, Stones and Trippier, who it turns into that back 4. And then with the ball, Trippier, one of the great things that he's had this year is he's so good on the ball. He's able to get the ball forward to Kane or whoever it would be. Sorry, for Newcastle, it's Wilson. But he also allows that player ahead of him to just kind of go for it a little bit. And that's why I kind of want him in this team. Set pieces as well. One spot you didn't like, am I right in saying this? Was it, I've got Dyer over Maguire on the left-sided centre-back. How do you feel about that one?
No, I mean, I think I don't want Eric Dyer or Harry Maguire anywhere near this England team. And I think that's sort of the point that I was perhaps inarticulately trying to make. You're having to play a player that is at least debatably not very good. Okay. And then what you're going to have to do in order to play that player is you're going to have to not play a player that is not debatably brilliant. Like, you're going to, in order to facilitate this, somebody huge and talented and skillful and potentially match-winning doesn't play. Yeah. I appreciate this style. I think, by the way, your team here is far more likely to mimic. This is going to be what it'll be like. Mine is,
and that's kind
ambitious.
Of why I've gone down that road as well.
This is far more realistic. But somebody, and we're going to move up the pitch. There's already a glaring omission that I've just realised. There's you're not playing someone wonderful to accommodate Eric Dyer. That's my issue.
And do you know what? I think that's an incredibly valid point. But I think the reason
this is safe, and I get that. And being safe at a tournament and being
in a tournament,
get you
quite far.
Being in it, when I think about other analogies, like I'm reading at the moment about poker. The thing that is most important, your seat at the table. So it's all very well bluffing and going all in and whatever, but the most important, the most valuable thing is your your bum connecting to that seat. Don't lose your seat.
Being able to go,
being in the tournament,
big blind, whatever.
Being in the tournament is the most important thing, and progressing and even notching up fairly uninspiring 1-0 victories or 2-0 victories is far better than potentially going for broke and going out.
I think that's it. I think it's like, it's not fun, and I get that, and I'm with it. But if you've got to this point playing this style of play, you're right. You know, look at Portugal in Euro 2016. I don't think they won a game until the semi-finals.
Absolutely.
So if you haven't conceded yet, you can't go out. You know, unless it's a penalty shootout. So you give yourself a shot. Again, it's not exciting, but I think it's certainly what he'll do. It's what France have done for a very long time, and think about how good their squad is. So that's why I get why Gareth does it. That's what I'm saying. And when we move into that, what I do want to do then is, if you're going to play this style, when you've got the ball, can you get the best out of what you've got available? I do think you make a great point there, the fact that you could have Grealish in this team or Maddison in this team, and you're playing Dyer instead. But my concern is that you might, well, Southgate's concern would be that, well, that's fine, but what if we just lose 1-0 and then they sit deep?
You're playing Wales. Wales have a moment, as they're perfectly capable of doing. I think we were both in Lens, weren't we, when England played Wales?
Was it Lille?
We stayed in Lille, but the game was in Lens. That game, you know, England won it in the last minute, but it could have been different. It could have been different. And my team, my team, obviously, I think my team's better. I selected it.
It's a good team.
But the reason why I do see the detriment in it is because it's ambitious. And with ambition comes potential pitfalls.
Yeah. I think Southgate thinks about game state a lot. And, you know, you talk about that, the Italy final, and I get the critique of it. But what I would say with that is that when you go 1-0 up, I remember thinking at half time, I go, all we need is a clean sheet. We've won the Euros. So that does change the way that you play a little bit.
But that mentality cost us the game. Defending on our own
box. But it probably got us there as well.
Having one shot on target in 120 minutes of football is ultimately what killed us that day.
But again, I'm saying the reason for that is because you were 1-0 up.
Yeah.
So that's it. It's up for debate, and I get it.
We approach things differently.
I know we do.
This is interesting.
I'm just understanding of what Gareth's done so far. A good friend of mine, so I call him Gareth. And I
did actually see a photo of you with him.
At this moment in time, it feels too late to change. And I like Rice on that right hand side to sort of help out with Trent and also offer up an option. Bellingham to sort of get on that little bit more. Trent to play that ball over to the left hand side with Foden. And if we look, the two midfielders are obvious. Sure, I think just go with a natural left sided player, and that's why I've got him in the team. And I think he's a little bit more conservative than Chilwell would be. So Trent can really kind of go for it if he wants to. Let's talk about the front three, because we've got a different front three.
I've got an issue with your front three immediately.
So the reason I've gone with this front three is due to, and we're talking about things like form, experience, all those things. We dive into that a little bit more in Rory's video. The reason I've gone with Sterling ahead of Saka, and it's so close, and again, Saka comes on in this team, Mount comes on, you know, there's so many players that could come on. But I put Sterling there because I think if you've got that width and that great ability to make great passes from Trippier and Trent, I want someone like Sterling who's
running the channels,
but also I actually love, and you guys might remember it, you probably won't, but Euro 2020 when I put my team together there, I really, really like Sterling on the right hand side. I really like Sterling on the right hand side. I don't understand why he doesn't play it more often. I think it's often because he has the mind of someone who wants to be a centre forward, but he's not. And so that hybrid there, and the fact that he did so well in the last tournament, and he's obviously got a chemistry with Kane. I think those diagonal runs in behind, I think Foden's going to stretch it in terms of width with Trent. But with Trent playing wide, you need someone to be able to go out wide, but also go in behind and help out Kane. And that's why Sterling's just above Saka, I don't think Saka's an out-and-out forward.
I completely agree. Tough. I think Foden and Kane makes total sense to me. I mean, it makes so much sense. It's in my side. Sterling, I want to fight his corner because firstly, I love him. Secondly, he's a Chelsea player. Thirdly, he's from North West London. There's only reasons for me to love Sterling. But James, he's having a howler. Yeah, he's having a howler.
But I think there might be, and it's wishful thinking, there might be that respite of England might be like,
maybe, but conversely, he's having a howler while Saka's having decent ride.
Yes, yeah. And I think it's a toss of a coin. And I think if they played this in, you know, a quarterfinal or whatever, and he played Saka instead, who he loves, Southgate loves, I'd just shrug my shoulders and go, absolutely fine. But I think with Sterling as well, if you think of him going into the Euros, he was in terrible form.
Yeah. And he was our match winner.
And he was our match winner. Yeah. And I think he sniffs out a goal maybe a little bit better than Saka, and that's why he's just...
No, that's true. That's true. I think I think your team needs Sterling in it because it's quite conservative. It's quite focused on not conceding. You need the goal hungry nature of Raheem Sterling. Yeah. So I do understand, but I think that these teams are a microcosm of our personalities. I've just gone for broke, hope for the best, and you've like really given it diligent thought and like actually thought about XG and tactics.
You normally land on your feet, so probably your one that works out, and mine is just crumble. And anyway, I think that's kind of what I've gone for. But you're right, it is a mix. I think if you go, so say we're doing what's our starting 11 for the first qualification game of the next thing, and Gareth Southgate's not there anymore. I think
you could revolutionise.
I think you do. I think it is a bit of the mindset of Gareth, but it's worked with him up until now. Guys, go check out Rory's video. His team will be revealed in that video. Of course, subscribe to his channel as well.
Thank you.
And subscribe to this one if you fancy it. Check out all the other World Cup previews, and I'll see you in the next one.